Feel the magic under Keely's light. Hook in hand, we're gonna start today. Hook in love will show the way.
Hi, I'm Keely from Hooking Love, and this week's stitch of the week is the basket weave stitch. Beautiful texture, 4 row repeat, and I know that you're going to love it. If you're new here, I create new stitch videos every week, so if that's for you, hit subscribe and you'll get a notification every week when a new one goes on. This is the basket weave stitch that we're going to be making this week. You have each section that then looks like a basket weave, and you have 4 stitches across for each one, and then 2 rows up for each section. So you have a 4 row repeat, which is 2 and then another 2, and it works the same back to front. So again, this is a really good sort of interchangeable stitch because you can have it reversible, and it looks just as good on the other side as this side. So to make the basket weave stitch, I am using a double knit yarn, and I am actually using a 5mm hook for this one. I find a slightly bigger hook works a little bit better, but I suppose make a sample and decide on the density for yourself. But the first thing you're going to do is make a slip knot, however you choose to make it, and then for the pattern you're going to chain multiples of 8, and once you've got the length you want or the width you want, depending on what you're making, then you're going to add an extra 7 onto that. So multiples of 8 and then an extra 7. So I'm going to chain 16, so 2 multiples of 8. I've got a pen mark, sorry. So 1, so that's 16, and then I'm going to add my 7. So now, obviously I'm doing this as a sample, so you can do whatever length you want. So if you imagine if you're doing a blanket, just keep on doing your multiples of 8 until it's about the size you want, and then you're going to add that 7. So I am going to, within this foundation row now, miss the first 2, and I'm going to place my first stitch into the 3rd chain from the hook, and I am yarning over it, and I'm going to make a double crochet. So that's US double, UK treble. So I've yarned over, I've gone into the stitch, well, into the chain, I'm drawing a loop through, I've got 3 loops on my hook, and then I'm yarning over and pulling through 2, and yarning over and pulling through 2. If you don't know how to make them, there are stitch tutorials within my stitch library for that, but we are making that all the way along. So here we are, this is the last one, and this is the foundation. So we just have a row of double crochets, and what we're going to do now is we're going to start there's a 4 row repeat now for this pattern. So chain 2 and turn. We are not working this first stitch, we are working from this stitch onwards. And we are going to be making back posts and front posts. So I will demonstrate them, but again, if this isn't something you're familiar with, there is a fuller tutorial within the stitch library. So to make, first of all, a front post, we're going to yarn over, and we go in from the front of the row, not from the back of the row. We go in from the front of the row, and we take the hook around the post. Now this post sits in front of the hook. This is how I remember it. It sits in front of the hook. We draw the yarn through, and then effectively we have 3 loops, and we would do just what we would normally do with a US double, UK treble, and that is yarn through 2. Oh, I lost it. Let me start again. So I'm going through, drawing it through, yarn through 2 and yarn through 2. And we're going to make 4 of those. So the pattern works in multiples of 4. So next one, so again, going around the back, grabbing the yarn and pulling it through, yarn over, through 2, yarn over, through 2. So we're going to do that 2 more times. So hopefully now you can see we have these 4 front post stitches. So we're now going to do back post. So this brings the work forward, the back post takes the work behind, and this is what helps to give it this beautiful textured feel and look. So we went this way last time, so now in the back post we go behind the work and take the post behind the hook. So the back post, so the post is behind the hook, or the hook, and then we pull that through and we continue as normal. So yarn through 2, yarn through 2. What I will say is this always is a little bit more difficult. So as you do this bit, this itself is fine. It's the drawing that loop back around that post. You may find that it works better for you if you pull the post forward at the top of your work and then draw the loop up and do it that way. As you are doing it this way, it's very easy to catch some of the other yarn as you're pulling through. So I'll do that again. So we're going behind the work, around the post, so the post is behind the hook, grabbing the yarn, we're pulling that through. If you want to, just manoeuvre your work, and we're creating this. So you can see now that this has pulled the work back, which has caused the top of the stitch to sit proud, which is, as I say, what gives it the texture. So we've worked 4 front post, 4 back post, and we're going to do that again now. So we're going to do another 4 front posts. So there we go, that's 4 front posts, which then leads us to another 4 back posts. And then we're going to end with 4 front posts. Now this is the reason that we've done those extra 7. So the multiples are 4, aren't they? So we do the 8 because we need at least 2 sets. But by adding those extra 7, it gives us our turning amount, but it also means that our basket weave stitch is even. So we've got the same look on either end. So I have completed that 4, and I still have my chain from the previous round. So into the top of that chain, I have yarned over and I am making a half double. So that's a UK half treble. So I'm going to draw that through, yarn over and pull that through all 3. It doesn't need to be as tall a stitch because we've worked that further down. Okay, so I'm chaining 2 and I'm turning, and I'm going to go on to row 2 of the pattern, and of the 4 row pattern, which is actually row 3 for this piece of work if we count the foundation row. Now this looks the same as that side, but we've got the back posts and then the front post, which of course on this side was front then back. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the same stitches just in the opposite order. So we're going to miss this first one and we're going to do 4 back posts. So these were the front posts from the previous row, but they're the wrong way around and we want to keep them that way. So we keep them facing the same way to continue the pattern. So we're going to do 4 back posts. Okay, we're going to follow that then with 4 front posts. So we're doing exactly the same stitches, we're doing them in the reverse order for this row to keep that look uniform over these 2 rows. Again, now I've done 4, so I'm going to do 4 back posts. And the last 4 back posts. And then our very last stitch is going to be, again, top of the chain 2 from the previous round and a half double. Okay, so you can now see that we've got a square of the basket weave, so it's back and forward and back. As we turn it over, we'll have forward, back. Okay, so hopefully that all makes sense so far. So now we're going to do the pattern in reverse, as it were. So we did row 1, foundation row. Row 2 was the beginning of the basket weave pattern, so the first row of the basket weave pattern, and we did 4 front post, 4 back post, and we repeated that. On the second row we were going the opposite way round, so we did back post, front post, but because of the opposite way round they form a uniform look with the posts from before. And now what we're going to do is we're going to alternate this, so these stitches will start to have this look here, and then this section will have that look there, which is where of course we get the basket weave from. So we are going to start with our chain 2. Oh, pulling on the wrong bit. So we're going to start with a chain 2, turning round. Now, we did front post here, didn't we? Now we're wanting a different look, which means that we are going to do the back posts. Otherwise, the format's the same. So 4 back posts. And then 4 front posts. And 4 back posts. And 4 front posts. And then finally 4 back posts. just going to complete my half double treble, whichever you call it. Oh, that's gone very tight. There we go. Okay. So hopefully you can see now that that's starting to create that same pattern. So we now need to do a second row of this second part of the pattern. So this is the fourth row of the basket weave pattern. 1, 2 chains, turn round, and again we're going to do what looks like the same stitch but is in fact the reverse. So 4 front posts, and then 4 back posts. And then I'm going to repeat that all the way along. So 4 front, 4 back, 4 front. I will speed this up for you. Now, so here we are. I finished off with the half double again, and you can now see how that works up, can't you? You can see we've got sections of the basket weave, and you would repeat that. So you would repeat. So we've done the four rows. We've got 5 rows of the pattern, but we've done four rows of the basket weave pattern. And on your next one, you would go in, and as we turn it, we would then make the front post. So you can see, hopefully, you've got front posts, then these what look like back posts. Obviously, there were 2 alternative ways of doing it. And then your next lot would be a section where you're going to do the front posts, and then back posts, and front posts, and back posts. And you do that on a 4-row repeating pattern. So I am going to do a little bit more on that, and then I shall come back and show you when it's got a little bit more on it, and then explain how you might choose to finish that off. And here's the finished piece of work, and as you can see, I've done 5 sections by 5 sections. The texture is beautiful, and I think it's a really attractive stitch. This would be great for scarves and cowls, make a beautiful blanket or throw, so lots of different ways to use it. So if you do the stitch, I would love to know about it. You can send me a message or send me a comment and a photo. I'd love to see it.